Hi everyone, and welcome to the lesson portion of this video for the song Arms of Sorrow. Arguably one of the best songs recorded by Killswitch Engage, including on this album as Daylight Dies. I'm not going to talk about the entire song per se. We'll just talk about a couple of the parts and what you can extrapolate from them. With my conversations with students, it is apparent to me that many people will find the song quite challenging. So instead of teaching the song itself, I'd rather teach the lessons of the song. Let's see the intro. All right. Now let's see what we can do with these particular chord shapes. As we hear in the song, one of the guitars is playing the background chords, and there's kind of little 5 chords, 1, 5, on the 4th and the 3rd string at the same time. I would rather do a much more solo guitar arrangement of the chords and try to find their bass notes. Now, because our 6th string and our 4th string are tuned to the same pitch, whatever the note is that we play on the 4th string, we can play the same note, the exact same fret position on the 6th string. So if we add the bass to this, we get this. Quite nice. Now let's see if we can find those particular chords a little bit higher up on the neck and see if they're going to sound even similar to this. Now this note essentially is D flat, and we can find this note on the 6th fret. There we go, 6th fret of the 5th string. And in order to make a chord, we're going to have a chord shape that looks a little bit like a major chord, except we're going to leave the G string open again, the 3rd string, not tuned to G at this particular point. Very good. So we have the 6th fret with our 1st finger, 8th fret with our 3rd finger, and then the pinky finger is going to have the 8th fret again on the 2nd string. Nice. Then we're going to slide that same chord shape down 2 frets, so from the 6th to the 8th. And then we're going to have another 2 frets down starting on the 10th, 12th on the 4th string, open 3rd, and the 11th fret with the 2nd finger. Looks like a minor chord, except we're not playing the whole. Very good. So all 3 of them. Sounds very familiar, doesn't it? And after that, we can add an open 6. Add an extra note there to that chord. And what I'm doing is I'm fretting the 10th fret on the 2nd, 12th fret on the 3rd, 12th fret on the 4th, and open 6th string. So if we put those together in a similar fashion, so that's one thing you can do with the chords, try to find them similar voicings, or at least voicings that are based on the original chords, higher up the neck. It's not exactly the same, but it's close enough. Now let's see what we can do if we harmonize one of the chord shapes that we get, particularly the first chord shape. You can see in the tab as well, we have the 1st fret of the 6th string, the 1st fret of the 4th string, with our 1st and 2nd finger, and then the pinky's playing the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. And that's that chord shape that I would like to harmonize. Harmonize would mean we're essentially going to play that particular chord shape up the neck in conjunction with the scale that this song, or at least this part of the song, is in. In this case, this is the C Phrygian mode, which is the 3rd mode of the major scale. And the notes are going to go because our 4th string and our 6th string are tuned to the same pitch, those notes will be exactly the same. So when we're moving the chord shape, it'll be exactly the same idea, except for the 2nd string here, starting on the 3rd. Those are the notes there. So let's see what happens when we follow this example. This is something very commonly done in jazz with major 7, major 9, 11 chords, just to be able to get a different voicing, a different fingering. Now we're going to move up the scale. Wow. That was the entire octave. You can find these in the tab, and this is a great technique to use with chords, any type of chord that you like the voicing of. And if you know your major scale, you can just follow this example, and you can create out of these chords, some of them wonderfully sounding voicings. You can create new chords and ideas. Oops. There we go. Just a short example of what you can do with it if you make yourself a little chord progression. Something very remember if I use those chords underneath. There you have it. All right. In this section, let's take a look at the rhythm that's played during the verses. It's a very interesting syncopated, what can be called as polyrhythm. If you're unfamiliar with that, I've included the Wikipedia article below this video just to give you an idea of what that is. Right. So that's that particular rhythm. What I like to do is I like to take that rhythm out of this particular context and place it just in it with a different chord progression. The way I like to break these down, if they're particularly difficult to learn, is I like to play the rhythm with my right hand alone on, for example, on the 6th string, while I tap with my left. I tap out the beat that's underneath. So in this case, it'll be a 4/4 rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4, and my right hand will be doing the rhythm itself. Well, let's give it a shot. 2, 3, 4. And that's it, as close as we can get to it at least. So let's see, I've made up a little different chord progression, something a lot simpler, and I've placed the beat, I've placed that particular rhythm there. So let's see how that goes. 2, 3, 4. Right, it's the same rhythm in completely different context. One thing we can change about this rhythm, if we want, you notice that the first accent that comes in is always on the chord. So essentially it's a long and 2 short strokes. And that's that particular repetition that goes on for nearly 2 bars before we add another short stroke. Before we move into the next bar, just to finish it off with the other rhythm. And the part that goes like this. So one other thing we can do is, instead of accenting the chord on the first part of the beat, we can accent the chug note, essentially, or the sixth string, muted sixth string, and then the other two notes can play the chord. So if we invert it, instead of this, we get this. Same idea, just inverted. So if we do that progression with that idea, we get something like this. Fantastic. Why don't you guys try it, see what you can make out of this rhythm, and see if you can try to extrapolate it, take it out of its context, and put it in some different usages. I feel that that's the best thing to do with songs. Once you learn the song, you try to learn the lessons that the song can give you. And this is one of my favorite lessons from Arms of Sorrow.